Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, I've been exploring Les Filles du Roi, the king's daughters, the Filles Mariées, the marriageable girls. I've also been looking at French influences in North America, looking at different travel videos, just having lots of fun. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. But before we do, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. That is to subscribe, like, and notify. All that helps this channel extraordinary. Really and truly the logarithms and all that good stuff. The next three are a little bit higher up in terms of supporting the channel and helping it to grow even more. And that is through Patreon, which is a monthly service, and that you can elect $1, $10, or 25 different levels, give you different things. And then we also have the coffee, which is a one-time payment that you can do it's the origin of that is buy me a cup of coffee. And then we have the PayPal that is on my Have Roots Will Travel website, and you can donate there as well. So with all that being said, I want to just say thank you to those of you who have partaken in all of those different levels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I record this, we're currently at 1,800 subscribers. I'm just every day, there's more and more and more. So thank you so much. My big goal is to reach 2,000 by the end of this year. And I'm hoping that that happens. And I'm confident. I'm confident. So without further ado, let's get started and see which Filles Mariées we're going to look at today. Let us talk a little bit about Les Filles Mariées. These girls, about 262 of them, come before Les Filles du Roi. I always like to make sure that you are aware of this. Most of you who have followed my program and my episodes know this, but I just want to make sure. So between 1634 to 1662, about 28 years, we have about 262 girls that would come to New France and essentially populate or help populate the country. It averages out to about 10 a year. Obviously, that's not enough to create a country. And that is why Jean Talon and the king eventually took it over in 1663 and said, we gotta speed things up a bit. And so, but however, Les Filles Mariées are to be truly treasured because of the fact that they came when there really wasn't a country. They came without any kind of dowry or gifts from the king or anything. Yes, their passages were usually paid. Today's episode is number 89, Marie Pinet de la Chesnaye. And she comes to us as a viewer request. So let's get to know Marie a little bit better. So what we know about Marie is not very much at all. We know that she was born about 1626 in France, presumably. And her parents, we don't have any information. We'll dig into why we don't have that information in a little bit. And sometime in 1643, usually in the spring or summer, fall, but obviously this is very, very early in Quebec history. Montreal had just been founded the year before, so it gives you some idea of how early on this is. So here we have the groom that she would select, and who would select her. His name, Pierre Masse. And he was born in 1617 in France to parents that are unknown. We don't know exactly where. So here are these two people, and we have no information other than approximately when they would have been born. So he would have been about 9 years older than she. So we do not have a marriage record that has survived that would normally list where they're from and their parents and all of that. We know through the church records that the ceremony took place May 15th, 1644 in Quebec City. So the family would now settle at Sillery. Sillery, which is one of the boroughs of Quebec City, But at one time, it was its own independent city. In 2002, it was amalgamated, along with other smaller cities, into the larger region of Quebec City. Sillery was first established as Canada's very first Indian reserve. It was first named Saint Joseph, and the money for establishing the first settlement was provided by Noël Boulard de Sillery. Unfortunately, the natives' population fell victim to disease and other issues, and the reserve failed. The town was eventually named Sillery in honor of its benefactor and would become an important player in Quebec's lumber industry. You can see the riverfront of Sillery on the upper left of your screen. It's just amazing when I see it because that's what it essentially would have still looked like back in that day. You can see on the map where Sillery is, and then you can also see how Sillery is kind of laid out by on the very, very bottom there. I've circled it with Sainte Foy, Sillery, Cap Rouge. And one of the things that on the bottom right that you can visit, I didn't get to it on my last trip, but this is definitely something I want to see. It was a fort that was created here in the mid-1600s and would have been present during their time. The actual house burned down twice and dates from, but this one that they rebuilt dates from 1703 to 1730, so a little bit later than when they were there. In the 1666 census, we have Pierre Masse, his wife Marie Pinet. They have their son Denis, their son Pierre, their daughter Claire Magdalene, their daughter Anne, their son Guillaume. In the 1667 census, Pierre is listed as, for some strange reason, I'm seeing 10 years of age, but Marie is now 50 a year later. So again, the census has to be taken into account. Denis has aged 2 years. Pierre has aged 2 years. Anne has aged 2 years. Guillaume is now the same age, or no, has he aged? He's aged 2 years. They now, in the 1667 census, how many animals? They had 3 beasts, which are like cattle, and then they have 12 arpents valeurs, about 9 to 10 acres of land. Begin their family and have 6 children in all. Their firstborn, Denis, would marry a lady named Catherine Pinel, but would die before he could leave any descendants. Jeanne would marry Guillaume Constantin and have 5 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. She would then marry again to a man named Guy Vacher, but not have any descendants from him. She would then marry a 3rd time, Gilles Jean, and would have 1 child who did survive. She would then marry a 4th time. This lady doesn't know the meaning of giving up. And would marry Charles Rainville and would have 5 children and only 1 that survived. Just a tremendous, tremendous lady. Pierre married Jacqueline Pain and would have 4 children, all of whom made it. Marie-Madeleine married René Duverger de la Plante. There were no children from him. She would then marry Jean-Baptiste Majoret and have 15 children, 9 of whom made it. Anne would marry Jean Pain and would not have any children. She would then marry François Dolbec and would have 13 children, 8 of whom would make it to adulthood. Guillaume would marry Marie-Madeleine Amiot, but would not leave any descendants. So as befits this couple, who we have so little paperwork on, Marie would pass away sometime before September of 1673. And the only reason we know that is because Pierre took out a contract to marry someone in September of 1673. With that assumption, that means that Marie would have been approximately 47 years old, which is a tremendously early death, and heartbreakingly so. But she and Pierre would have been married almost 30 years at that point. So that's a tremendous, tremendous achievement. And let me tell you the other achievement that Marie did. Even this fact, they didn't have 15 children, but because they had them so early, and obviously the vine continued, they would end up having, as of 1729, 337 descendants, just a tremendous, tremendous amount of people. So I am so fascinated to know how many of you can claim Marie as one of your filles à marier. And now Pierre would pass away before 1681. We don't have a death date for him. One of the reasons is, again, because he doesn't show up on the 1681 census. So this is par for the course. This couple came, they went, but they left their mark. And our story of Marie Pinet de la Chesnaye. Just an amazing contribution for such short a time. And the fact that they were at Sillery, the fact that she came so very, very early and really contributed to the beginning of that line, of the mass line. And the most amazing thing was that out of 6 children, 337 descendants as of 1729. I actually had to go back and verify that I was right, that I had not somehow made a mistake, but I am, this is from that famous report that they did in 1729. So truly, truly an amazing gift she gave us, and we thank her for her contribution, for her sacrifice, for all that she did and accomplished, and most of all, for her presence in New France. We are ever so thankful that you came to our shores and was able to contribute to the tapestry that is Quebec and North America. Thank you so much to Marie. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters. Without you, this would not be happening as quickly. So thank you so much to all of you who have donated and sent me letters and all of that. It means the world to me. So thank you so much. And until I see you on episode 90 of Les Filles à Marier, until then, au revoir.